Hi, real progressives. It's Becky, the musing monster. I'm here today to put some truth on your mind. Hello. I will leave the conversation open and not start the video for another 5 minutes. Wait for a few people to get in. Come on. Hello. Ooh, I got one. Three. I see people viewing me. Hello. Say hi. So I know you're here. Ooh, it's up to 6 now. Ooh, 8. Ooh, I feel popular. Come on, say hi. Hi. I'm going to stay open for another few minutes to wait for people to come in. Say hi. Let me know you're here. Hi, Laura. Or Lara. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm so sorry. Hello. Hi, Monta. Hi, Judy. Hi. If you don't know me, I'm so sorry. I meant to do live videos before, but now I'm finally on live. I have done videos before, but this is my first live one on Real Progressive. So, hey. Hi, Deborah. Hi. Solidarity, Texas. Hello. How? Hi, Matt. Hi. I'm finally on live. Hi, Penny. Hi. We're going to stay on. I'm going to wait about a few more minutes. Wait till 2:05, and then actually maybe not even wait till then. Wait till we get a few more people on here. And then we'll go ahead and start. So, yeah, we're just going to wait for a few more people. I don't know how many people are going to actually show up, though. But I'm excited. Hi, Eve. Hi. If you're here and you're watching, say hi. Okay. Monta, I will do my best to lay some truth on you, man. I'm going to do my best. Hi, Rob. Okay, we're going to wait a couple more minutes. I'm going to do my best to hold off because I want to make sure I get as many people here as I'm supposedly going to, I guess. Trying to stay optimistic because this is one of my first live posts. So, yeah. And this is not going to be my background going forward. This is just the first one. I wanted to go and get it done today. I'm probably going to be moving around, getting the background set up. And I'm shooting this from my crappy ass laptop. So please forgive the shitty quality. This is all I have. Working on it. Hi, Cameron. Oh my God, Carmen, I am so sorry. Let me scroll. Let me make my text bigger. I am not able to see. I'm freaking blind. Okay, all right, now I can see. Yay. I can see. Hi. Gonna wait probably one more minute. Hi, Gianna. Regina. I swear to God, I'm terrible with pronounced names. I love you, though. Oh, thank you, Eve. Thank you. I really needed to know because I don't know. Because I'm setting up an actual background. Yeah, I'm setting up an actual background. I'm getting a tripod. I'm getting all this stuff because my video on my phone. I love my phone. It actually takes really good videos. I don't have anything to make it stand up, so I'm getting a tripod soon. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you. I've had great quality of audio and video with my laptop. It's just, I just want to make sure that y'all can hear and see me. I have to literally turn my screen down to the lowest level so I look really dark to me. Ooh, one of the RPs. Messaging me. Hey. Okay, I left it on. I'm impatient. I'm a Taurus. Leave me alone. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So if you don't know me, my name is Becky. I am the Musing Monster, if you want to look my page up, my individual page. But I am a new blogger, writer with Real Progressives, or so within the... And that's my daughter, Phoebe. Hi, Phoebe. Say hi real quick. Then go. I gotta do a video. Okay? Yeah. So I do videos on health and nutrition. I think the last one I did was on school lunch, which is more of a nutrition thing. So I'm going to do more of on the health side this week. And I know that y'all are probably commenting right now. I'm looking at I'm on a different screen, so I can't see y'all. Hold on, let me see. Yay! I can do both. Hold on. Yay! Again, sorry, this is my first live one with y'all. So okay, so this one's going to be more of a health video. Jeffrey Ginter, the other health and nutrition guy, and my live streaming idol right now. Oh my God. He is going to be doing a video on nutrition and subsidies. So be sure to check that out because Jeffrey's live streams are fire. Okay. So yeah, his is, I think, going to be around 8 Eastern Standard. So yeah, check it out. So this video is about one of those concepts that are really complicated that, at least when I looked at it, I was just like, oh, it sounds so pretty. The word sounds so pretty. Hi, Rocco. The word sounds so pretty. How can it be bad? I'm talking about austerity. It sounds pretty, but it's complicated. And I'm going to do my best to explain it because I'm just, as I'm saying, I'm not an expert on economics or health. I graduated with a bachelor's degree, but I graduated with a degree in probably the liberal arts of health degrees. I graduated with a degree in complementary and alternative health. So I am not an expert in many Western medicine things. Hold on a moment. Phoebe, can you go out of the room, please? Thank you. Go ahead out. You go ahead play in your room, okay? One moment. This is why I told you not to come in here. One sec. This is life of a mom. Hold on 1 second. One more moment. This is life of a mom, guys. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. My little 5-year-old. Hold on. Phoebe. 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 Here you go. You're all right. I'm back. Hi, John. I am so sorry. So, back to things. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so you'll have to excuse me. My kid got sent home early for snow day, I think. But anyway, so we're talking about austerity, and it's even been used with Steve. Steve actually did a blog post, and he talks about it a lot in his videos, and I would hear it, and I'm like, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds pretty. But how can it be so pretty if it's like bad and stuff? But that's just me. I'm just weird like that. So I looked it up and I did my research and I'm like, wow, that's bad. And the actual dictionary defines it as, and I'm going to read verbatim, a situation in which there's not much money and is spent on things that are necessary. It's also called an enforced or an extreme economy. So it's essentially the government tightening the purse strings on spending within the public sector. And again, that's a big term. What is the public sector? The public sector is, if you think about government services, whether it be federal or state or local, so you think about roads, bridges, sewers, electrical grids, military, police, anything that is basically a service that the government provides. That is the public sector. And that's tightening the purse strings there. And because there is a debt, a major debt, within the public sector. That's where austerity policies tend to kick in because it's easier that way. So when I hear people talk about austerity, unfortunately, again, I'm a layperson. I don't really know these things. I don't really, I'm new at the concept of economics and things like that. So it just gets jumbled in a mess of complicated topics, but it's so important. And if you don't think that you understand something that, maybe Steve, hi, Kristen, thank you for sharing. If you are watching, Steve, Ellis, Dr. Joe, any of these people that really are talking about important things, but they sound like they're basically speaking Greek to you, make sure to do your research. That's what I do. That's all I can do at this point. And really what our last election showed with Trump and Hillary showed that a lot of people went from being one of the major parties to an independent or even a progressive party. And the tricky thing with becoming, going from the mainstream to an independent mindset is that you got to deal with trying to learn everything on your own. And that sucks because you don't have MSNBC or Fox News telling you what to think anymore because it's full of shit. And you'll have to excuse me, I curse like a sailor if you don't know already. Oh, and of course it was a farce. For sure it was a farce. For sure, yeah. And really, just like South Park always says, it's always a race between a turd sandwich and a douche. A giant douche at that. So that's how it's always been for me. But this last election for sure really pushed a lot of people to a more independent political climate. And that really, for me especially, because I was basically on my way out the door from the 2008, 2012 election where Obama was reelected. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and maybe he'll do what he's supposed to do. And he didn't. And actually things got worse. And I'm like, okay, I'm completely done. And I'm going to research what's going on right now. And I looked at it and now I'm like, okay, now I'm really not a Democrat anymore because I'm seeing what's going on with my own eyes and I'm researching it and staying on topic, So with austerity, that's just one of the many topics that real progressives and other independent media say that really can get jumbled and make a big mess. And it's just like, okay. Sounds bad, but I don't know what they're talking about. And that happens to me a lot. So I'm going to do my best to explain it, to the best of my ability, but do your own research. I'm not an expert. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about how austerity is used because it's complicated, but the damage is what's real and what I really want to talk about. So if you have looked at my past videos, which if you haven't, it's okay. They weren't live, so it's okay. If we take off the cloak of words and concepts, the long concepts and words that just make your brain just fizzle out for a second. If you just focus on the whole of what economics is, it's just money. It's how money is distributed. So if you want to see it as like a household budget, that's fine. But for sake of example, we can do that because at the very least, that economics is talking about money. And I'm sure that we can all agree about that. In some way, shape, or form, it's talking about money. So austerity itself is a government money concept that says the area of the government in charge of public programs is in debt. And the likely solution is to tighten the purse strings. And the problem with this is that the US dollar is sovereign. I'm not going to go in depth with this. If you want to learn about economics, you need to go back and watch a video with Steve or Dr. Joe or Ellis or whatever. I'm not an economics expert, but we are, at the very least, I know that the US dollar is made here, is generated here. and we make our own money. What is the point of tightening spending? What's more, our government is planning to beef up military spending and is cutting spending on other government programs. But like I discussed earlier, if the public sector is including military, wouldn't that include, wouldn't that make the public debt, the public sector debt worse? Just me? And of course, yes, we can never go broke. But if we're talking about in a matter of the government seeing it as an issue where austerity has to take place, then they're seeing it as a debt, meaning we're spending more than is available. So if we're spending more than what's available, doesn't that include the military, which is what we're overspending, in my opinion? But again, I'm not an expert. So if we're just talking about the actual where it comes from, or what policies that what austerity policies are coming from, it's coming from the lawmakers, i.e. Congress. They're the ones that are holding the purse. So whenever we're talking about government money, they're the ones that shell it out. The Federal Reserve does not do anything without their say-so. So if Congress is the one that holds the purse, then they're the ones that freeze government paychecks. They're the ones that remove or reduce government programs. They're the reasons that a state won't get funding, that a department won't get funding. They don't control how the state will spend the money, but they hand the money out to them. And that's more so something for you to really talk about with your state and local representatives, just to put a bit in your ear. So in this way, austerity can basically put more debt in the public sector and create this crazy vicious cycle each way around. So let's say you have a pothole in your area that needs to get filled. If they don't have the money to fill that pothole, guess what? That pothole ain't getting filled. And people are just going to have to deal with it. That's part of the public sector, is creating roads. So that's just part of it. So if the problem, the main problem that I'm seeing regarding our lawmakers and what policies they are putting forward is that they've put more money into rescuing the banks than actually helping the people that are suffering because of the banks. There's more focus in trying to get the banks out of debt, which they caused themselves. We didn't do shit. They did it themselves. So they caused the shit. Then they say, hey, let me hold 20 real quick. And we're over here like, dude, give me $5. I just need to go get some food real quick for my family. Nope, we're gonna give the bank $20. You can go fuck off. And then they're gonna come back to us and want us to give them $20, if that makes any sense. That's austerity for you. So now you see, in a way, how austerity has screwed us. So if we know how the laws are cutting programs in this last-ditch effort to balance the budget, but they aren't really balancing shit, just betting all on black and hoping that the House doesn't win. What happens? Like I said, what happens when the House wins? Who's the one that has to pay for the screwed up policies that Congress is putting forward? That's basically putting more debt in the public sector. Whether the U.S. creates its own sovereign currency or not, it's still seeing that as a debt. We are. It's us. We're the ones that get them out of debt. It's you. It's me. It's the baby boomers that are now retiring. It's the students that are graduating just in time to be in debt for the rest of their lives. It's the people who lost their jobs. It's the people who can't find work. It's those of us who want to cook real food, but we don't think we can afford it. So we eat shit. We fill our bodies with toxins and shitty food because that's all that's available to us. It's all the people in our country, this great country of ours, that are dealing with contaminated water, contaminated air, being in food deserts, like I said, not being around fresh fruits, vegetables, and having to deal with the convenience store or a local grocery store that may or may not have the freshest food available. It's those of us that have dealt with systematic racism, which is basically all of us. It's those of us that have attempted suicide. It's those of us that are left behind when those that attempt suicide actually succeed. It's those of us that are victims of rape, abuse, assault, #MeToo. Those with mental illness, those who self-medicate, and all of us twisted fuckers in between. Pretty sure I covered everybody. Yeah, I covered everybody. So it's all of us. So if the public sector is in debt and funding is further slashed, that means that whatever put us in debt does not have to repay it. And the people at the lowest rung, the people that need the support from the government the most, are going to be vilified, because the people that actually caused it don't want you to look in their direction. They're going to say that this low-income family that's on food stamps and their entitlement is why we're in this problem. They're going to tell you that we have too many problems, that government is too big, but these banks are too big to fail. We can't let it happen. Okay? So it's just it just baffles me. Like I'm still wondering where the torches and pitchforks are. So when I was researching, I actually, just came upon like a revelation that we have health and hold on, Kathy, I'm reading your comment. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, we need community gardens. I love that. Thank you, Kathy. And yes, the real welfare queens are not at the bottom, they're at the top. And we've seen that. We've seen people getting arrested for these massive welfare conspiracies and fraud rings with welfare, and they weren't at the bottom. They were con men, frauding the system, getting buku cash because of it. It wasn't us, but that's who they blame. That's the first people they blame. So, like I said, in my research, it came, doing all this research for this video, I'm just like, what's going to happen when someone who's LGBT needs to have an operation to become their full self? What happens when someone who needs medical marijuana applies for it, and the state-run program, or maybe even Medicaid that could help someone, or government-run insurance that a LGBT person has and is wanting to use that for their operation, it isn't there. The money isn't there. What happens when a child needs an EpiPen and there isn't anything available? What happens when there's someone that gets hurt and doesn't have the medical, availability to be able to get surgery? And those of us, I'm in Virginia, I'm waiting for medical marijuana. I'm gonna have to wait longer if austerity continues, because there's no funding for us to have dispensaries and things like that and support to push it. We've got to have the funding. And we're worrying about federal taxes. What happens to our state and local run programs? That's what I'm worried about. I'm not giving a damn hell about federal taxes because we're good. Okay? And let's think about it even when we're talking about government agencies, because Trump keeps cutting these government agencies. Think about one government agency in particular, the CDC. The CDC recently got cut like $18 billion. And that's the people who are in hazmats investigating and working to halt or stop or remove viral epidemics. All of this just does not put a good taste in my mouth. It makes me feel like something big is going to happen and we're not going to have the funding to be able to get us out of it, if that makes any sense. So I may be, missing my tinfoil hat here, but that's what happens in my brain. And Trump talked about draining the swamp and, removing big government. I don't know if you guys, I know that, I may have some people here that were 90s kids, but if you watched Magic School Bus, or if you go on Netflix now and watch Magic School Bus, they have an episode about swamps and how swamps actually stop floods from happening, and they actually have a really thriving ecosystem and stuff. I say that to say this: draining the swamp is not necessarily the best thing to do, especially when you don't even know what the swamp does. You don't even know what the purpose the swamp has. And you're trying to just cut all these programs. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And of course, big bloated orange dude, Cheeto in the White House, he ain't gonna know shit. And all these corporations that are trying to play politician, they don't know what's going on. So we have all these people who are like, oh, okay, so we're going to run the government like a corporation now. Because apparently you need help. You need help. We're going to cut that. That's bad. We're going to cut that. That's bad. We're going to cut that. And they're not. And then when they cut the wrong thing, it's like, oops, it's cut. I don't really know how to sew, and I'm not common. I'm not poor. I don't know how to sew. Where's my maid? I need her to sew this. So you can't expect to really expect much from what our government is made up of right now. Like one person got upset because Denzel said some crap about prisons, about the prison industrial complex or something like that. There was a post going on recently, and I'm like, what do you expect? Denzel has been famous for decades. Denzel doesn't know what's going on. And even if he does see it on the news, that's different than actually experiencing poverty. That's different than experiencing modern poverty within the past couple of decades. You're not knowing what's going on. You're not seeing it firsthand. And of course, Kathy, they always have the funding, but they always find a way to not budget that in. And they're going to make excuses. They're going to do whatever they have to do so that we look over here while they're doing some shady shit over here. That's my point. Because they can always say that, no, we don't have the funding. We have to be the ones to hold them up to it. So, right? I wish I could afford to act poor. I just have my life. Thanks. Anyway, so really, if I can give another hypothetical for explaining austerity from my research, of course, it's like, let's say you're trying to build a house. Your first house, you want it perfect. And you're on this person's ass the whole time. You're saying, I want this there. I want that here. I want this sort of window. I want this. And then you know what? They've been using all your money and they still didn't get it right. So you know what? I'm going to tighten the purse strings, but they can have control. Because I don't want big government. I don't want to tell you what to do. But I'm not going to let you use up all my money. So the new budget consists of toothpicks, leftover couch cushions from a Craigslist couch purchase that recently actually had a rabid raccoon in the middle of it that was just left out of the listing, and a box of brand new tools left out in the rain. So there's just a little bit of rust, a lot of rust, because it was left out in the rain for a week. That's what it means. You're cutting the funding and then sending the states out and these different agencies to do what they do without really doing anything. You're not giving them support. You're not giving the state support. So the people that have to rely on them, whoever is living in that house, has to deal with the crap that you gave them and the crap that they're giving us. That's the problem. Now we know what the problem is. How's the government going to get us out? Because they will get us out. I'm not even going to say if. I'm not even going to say if, because it's a what or a when. So because I am a student of alternative health, my focus is on the whole body, not the symptom. And if we're going to focus on the whole body, it would be more so in fiscal responsibility and making sure that we actually do act like a sovereign currency. But because I'm not an economics expert, I can't say how that's going to happen, so I'm going to move on. But there's obviously some sort of imbalance going on. Whether you have any sort of economic knowledge or knowledge of MMT, you know there's something going on because of crap going on that shouldn't be happening. Your own gut, your internal BS detector, it tells you something's wrong because we have shootings going on with people that should be getting mental health care. We have food shortages, we have food deserts, we have contaminated water, all these things that shouldn't be happening. If we are really the greatest country in the world, if we're really trying to make America great again, then we need to make sure that these basic entities that need to be there to make sure that people actually live and have proper, water, air, surroundings, housing, things like that keep them healthy. We don't have that. But we have the means to clothe, to feed, to give medicine to every person in this nation and our territories. Why aren't we? Why is Puerto Rico still out of power? Why is this still continuing to go on? That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't make sense. That dissonance isn't getting through because you see that it doesn't make sense. So, and I hate to break it to the people that, if RP people, if you still have some sort of bearing on holding on to Obama and holding on to 2008, 2012, I'm sorry. Most of the austerity policies that we have currently were created during the Obama presidency. But you can't really get mad at Obama because that's like getting mad at the rooster that's on the box of your cornflakes for the fact that someone pissed in them. You can get mad at them, but you can't really do anything because they're just a spokesperson. That's what a president is. They're a figurehead. So you can get mad at them for basically having their name on the box, but you can't really do anything more than that. So we need to get mad at the people that made laws during that time. We need to hold them to for sure. Oh, hi, another Becca. Hi. Yeah, for sure. He was center left at best, for sure. He was and he's a shill. He doesn't do really anything except put his name on stuff and collect checks. You know what I mean? So we're getting, right now, what recently happened in our political world was the tax cuts for the rich and the Affordable Care Act getting gutted. And we don't really need to be worrying about that because that's asking for crumbs. We need to go for what we deserve, healthcare for all, guaranteed jobs, things like that. We need to make sure that we have those things. And there's multiple sources that actually get behind that we need to invest further in the public sector. Many people are not going to be investing in the government and paying things and spending more when they don't have the means to. And by not giving us that, they're really going against the IOU that is the US dollar, in my opinion, of course. But because what right-wing people talk about when they talk about government programs and big government, it's because they don't want people, they don't want the government getting too big and corruption and all that. So if the problem is corruption within, let's say, Medicaid or anything like that, like the Center for Disease Control or the FDA or anything like that, if there's a problem with corruption, then there has to be more done and invested to make sure that there are checks and balances within those agencies, within every single agency. For example, like if there's a case quota that isn't being met, if you're not checking on your cases that often, there has to be some sort of consequence for that. But at the end of the day, there still needs to be support. Even if you want to say there's corruption, there still needs to be support because there are people that rely on it. Until you're going to figure out what the solution to the actual problem is, the only thing that's there to actually help that thing, you can't take it away. You can't remove the funding for it. It doesn't make sense because you're just going to put more pressure and weight on the people that rely on it. And really, there has to be more done as far as medical studies, new therapies, new medicines. This all could be happening, but there aren't resources. We can't expect to heal every person in this country because we may not have enough doctors. We may not have enough medicine. And that's a problem. We need to invest to make sure that we have that. And we can't do that if they're going to continue to cut things that provide those services, such as like loans, grants, that provide grants to new businesses, that provide funding for medical studies, things like that, within the state or local or what have you. And I was reading an op-ed article in the New York Times, and yes, I know I'm not trying to get my facts from an op-ed article in the New York Times, but what I liked about it was that they were saying that there should probably be some sort of office of health established to study the effects of fiscal and monetary policy. I'm like, yes, I agree completely. There definitely needs to be something going on to study the real trickle-down effects. And they were talking about adding epidemiologists, people that study disease, economists, sociologists, you name it, all in the name of seeing the real trickle-down of economics and what effect that has on healthcare, not only the policies, but the wellness of our citizens. So if we're doing this with the intention of creating more wellness, but the Office of Health looks at the research and says, no, that's not working, we can go ahead and shut that off and see what else we can do. We need more information in a lot of ways. But like I said, our internal BS detector tells us that we know that something's wrong. And we know the scales are tipping at some sort of fucked up angle. And why do these things still make no sense in this great country that we're supposedly in? And like I said, if you are unsure of how really to, swallow anything that I'm saying or anything that any of the other real progressive vloggers or streamers have been saying, please look it up, do your own research, because that's everything that we do, to make sure that we're informed, because we're independents as well. We get, some independent media, but at the end of the day, we have to get our own knowledge. And make sure that you hold your House and Senate representatives to the standards that you have. It's not up to them to say where the money goes. You say, we need money here, and you stay on their ass. And make sure to ask them why we have to pay for their crappy policies, for their mistakes. I'm not talking about taxes. I'm not talking about federal taxes. No. I'm talking about why you don't have your government disability check, why you don't have, as much money coming to you, why your benefits got slashed. Nothing happened. You didn't do anything wrong, but your state benefits got slashed. Ask them why that you're still waiting to be approved for your medication that you need to live or need to live a full life. Ask them why that you're, still waiting on a medical study to be done that would help you live a better life. And if time was money, the people waiting for VA hospitals and doctors would have millions of dollars owed to them for sure. And with the amount of money in the budget put for failed, and yes, I know we make our own money, but there is a budget, and there's the massive amount of money put into failed and unreliable military technologies and defense policies. We could afford to eliminate all of these things, including world hunger and homelessness. Studies could be done by now, and our nation could be an even stronger one because we can actually stand up straight for longer without having any problems. We have all of these things at our disposal, and they're not being used, and that is a travesty. We can be better, but we're not. And really, when we're trying to come up with a solution, you can't really say that this can't be done or that we don't have the money for that. Don't tell me it can't be done. It can. You don't want to. You don't want to do it. Especially in the mode of the Republicrats and Demishills. Don't tell me it can't be done. Just tell me that it's better for you, your bottom line, and your real that you read the teleprompter. That you cash that check to buy your new yacht. The one with the ivory tub filled with Cambodian breast milk. I know. If they won't buy it, if you can't buy it, who will? You poor thing. Alas, this is not the end of the story of austerity. It has yet to be written, and we can make it happen with our words. My lovely misfits and ne'er-do-wells, what will you do to make sure that your story of fighting austerity has a happy ending? That's about it for me. And I leave you for now. But tune in later. Round 8, Eastern Standard, 5, Pacific Standard, somewhere in between for Central. You won't want to miss it. Jeff is amazing. He has an even better live streaming voice than I do. I'm very jealous, very jealous. But I will catch you guys next week for a video about the dark origins of nutrition policies and food regulations. I gotta go check on my kid. All right. Yeah. See you guys next time. Thank you guys.